everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we're going to try and finish off our 1945 Ford two-end loader tractor here. We've got a bunch of adjustments we got to do on it to make sure everything's working exactly how it should. First thing we're going to work on is the engine. We got to get it started up and make sure our governor is set. The adjustment screw is down here on the back side of it. A little funky to work on when it's on the tractor, but I've got my thumb on it now, so you can get at it. We got to have it so that no load, wide open, it goes 2200 RPM. And then once we got that sorted out, we'll get it idled down and see about setting our curb idle speed and our idle mixture. It's kind of cool and damp out today, so we got the door only open a crack, got the exhaust hose on it. I'm going to get this thing cranked up and we'll see what we can do. Start it right up. We'll let her warm up for a sec. Alright, right now I got the dwell meter. It's reading 1400. So we're going to peg it and see what we get. See, we're barely getting 1600, so we'll have to speed that up. And we'll be able to slow the idle down some too. So you can see here, there's the speed screw. And to increase the RPM, we have to turn the screw out. So we'll do that. We'll give it a turn and see how much we increase it. Because right now, we're only getting 1600 RPM. We need to get 2200. Not having much luck with the high speed. I got the screw almost all the way out. And I could barely get it to like 1800. So not sure what's going on there, but quite honestly, given the likely internal condition of this engine, maybe that's not a bad thing. But we will try to slow down the curb idle a little bit. There we go. Ouch. That's bizarre. Definitely something not right with the governor on this. We got it idling now about 700. That seems to be as low as it wants to go. I think the shaft on the carburetor is wiped out. It's sucking in a bunch of air. That's all right. It is what it is. Now that we did our best with the engine speeds, I'm going to want to revisit that later. We're going to have a go at adjusting the brakes. Alright, so to adjust the brake, we get the thing jacked up off the ground. And we start spinning the wheel. And we're going to turn in. This is just a simple wedge adjustment, right? So we're going to turn in on the adjuster until we lock her up. And you'll see when it starts working, it should raise the brake pedal up too. It says here it should anyway. There we go. It's starting to lock up now. What do we got on the pedal? Okay, so now that that's basically locked up, now we back her off of here there till it's free. And if we go over here and work the pedal, we should find that it works. There we go. And it should release. Good. That's that one adjusted. But now what we got to do is adjust the pedal height. So the pedal's got two pieces, right? It's so hard to get a view at anything. This loader, man. The cap on the back side of it is what's keyed to the shaft. So by loosening and adjusting these two bolts, we could tilt the pedal up. So what we need to do is loosen the bottom bolt and tighten the top one, and that'll tilt the pedal up and get it level with the clutch pedal. This one was kind of difficult. You see here how much slop there is on this. The ends of the brake shoes, where they're like that, where they contact the cam. I probably should have built them up with a little bit of weld and filed them flat again to get rid of that. But anyway, in the end, we got the pedal up. I had to just put it in the press, and I could only get it up. It was about 3/4 of an inch low. That's as high as I could get it up by messing with the bolts back there. So I took the pedal off and took it over to the press and just put a little tweak in there, and now we're good. It doesn't really matter. I like to look at them sitting level. Anyway, now we've got to adjust the clutch pedal. So first thing we have to do, this is your adjustment here, this rod. You'll remember in the very first video we had to straighten this. So that's okay. Make sure that's straight. And then we want to adjust this using this. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a full turnbuckle. You have to take the pin out and actually turn the rod. But we want to get this so that we've got in between here, in between the up stop and the pedal, 3/16 of an inch. And that's what we've got. We're there. So what we got to do now is find something that's 1 3/4 of an inch. Which is that. Now, kind of holding this pedal down, right? Because we don't want it to, we don't want the brake pedal to get lifted up like that. Holding the pedal down, we rotate this guy around. We have to loosen this cinch bolt, and we're going to rotate this thing around so that the brake apply lever just touches the bottom of the clutch pedal with that 1 3/4 spacer in there. So now you can see down in there, that's what we're looking for. We've got our 1 3/4 inch spacer in there. And this lever is just touching the bottom of the clutch pedal. You can also push it that way, tap it with a hammer, and that'll help take out any of this side-to-side play on the clutch pedal if your bushing is a little bit worn like this one is. Actually, it's the shaft that's worn on this one. And then while that's all kind of held there, we tighten this cinch bolt to 60 foot-pounds. So now that that's adjusted, you can see how that works. This, when you push the clutch down to this point, to that point there, that completely releases the clutch. And anything further, it holds the clutch depressed and applies the left brake. That is how they designed it, so you could operate 3 pedals with only 2 feet. And once we're happy with our clutch pedal adjustment, we'll make sure the jam nut on the yoke is tight, and we'll put a cotter pin in each clevis pin. I may put a hair clip in the one at this end, so it's easy to get it out if we need to adjust the clutch. Now we can do our hydraulic adjustments. The first thing we have to do is set the tension on the draft control spring. The first thing we have to adjust is the draft control spring. So we do that with the touch control lever all the way in the up position. We remove the pin so the yoke swings out of the way. And what we want is on this spring, we want to feel that we can just turn it, but with no end plate detectable. And we are right there now. Some guys will, when they get it to that point, give it an extra half a turn. But that to me is kind of tight. So we're going to put it right back to where it was. And that to me is perfect. So now we can swing the yoke back up, put the pin back in, and put cotter pins in. I haven't got a cotter pin in the lower one right now either. And we'll get that all squared away. Then we can adjust the quadrant. Now we're going to adjust the lift quadrant. To do this, the 4 bolts that hold it to the hydraulic cover, you have them just snug. Just snug, because we're going to need to tap this forward and back. Before we start doing anything of that, we want to have a nice feel on the friction disc. So you just want it so that it's got enough tension on it to hold it in place. That's good like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it up, turn the PTO on, make sure the PTO is turning. Then we'll put the cap on because we don't want that grabbing our pant leg while we're working. And we'll adjust the quadrant. All right, there she is, whirring away. So we'll put the cover on. This is one of the aftermarket ones, the long one that will actually fit the conversion shaft. So if you buy the updated shaft that changes this to the large 1 3/8 PTO spline, this cap will cover it. Okay, we're safe from that now. So now what we want to do is lift the quadrant all the way up. And look at that, up she goes. Now what we're going to do is stand on this thing or put a little weight on it somehow. And we want to see that when we lower it, when the stick gets to about there, when the stick gets to about there, those chalk marks I've made, they say 2 5/8 to 2 3/4 from the back. It should start going down. And this one is not. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a little hammer and tap this thing forward a little bit. How do I do this? I haven't got enough hands, hang on. So the quadrant assembly is all the way back. We're going to start moving it forward. Let's see if we can get this thing to start coming down. I'm going to sit on it, just stand on it. I'll just sit on it. There we go. Now let's see what we got here. Try it again. We went too far. Okay. No problem. Just tap it back a little bit. There, try it there. Oh, look at that. It's too loose. Okay, hang on. That's so good. Everything about this is made so much more fun by this blasted loader. right there. I must have gone too far and then we come back. Now the trick with this is not moving it when you tighten it up. Okay, there's T-pipe. Let's see here. Yeah, good. Good where we need it. You literally have to keep checking it after you tighten each bolt. It's that sensitive. Perfect. And that's how we adjust the lift. Now we're going to check the toe on this thing. So I got my old race car toe plates here. And it says here at the front, we've got 61 inches. On the back side, we've got 62. So this baby's towed in a full inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this drag link end off, and we're going to turn it in. Let me see, what do we got to do? No, we got to turn it out. We got to turn it, yeah, we got to turn it out. So we'll turn it out a little bit and put it back together and see what it looks like. So we need to change this by a full inch. So, oh boy, I don't remember that being that tight when I put it together, but there we go. We'll give her 2 full turns and see what that does. Blasted thing. This loader, everything that I go to do, this loader is in the way. It is what it is. Okay, so let's go here. I put the front plate on, set it at 62. What's the back plate? 62.25. So we've got this thing towed in 1/4 of an inch. And because there's a lot of slop and flop in everything, I'm going to leave it like that, towed in 1/4 of an inch. Normally you'd want, like if it was a car and everything was tight and perfect, you want like a 1/16 or even a little bit less. But 1/4 inch of toe in on this thing will be fine. If you notice, you start to notice when you turn and it kind of pulls the wheel out of your hand and won't come back, then yeah, we've got it towed in too much and we'll open it up a little bit. But I'm pretty sure this will be fine just like this. So we'll lock everything down. And but I'm not going to put the cotter pins in until I've had it outside and driven it, just to make sure. All right, so here we come. We're going to bring it out of the garage. It starts good. If I can say anything good about it, it starts good. Hey, here she comes. It's a little bouncy because of the chains, but doesn't steer too easy with all that weight in the front wheels neither. My Ferguson was like that with the big loader on it. But the brakes work. At least that one does. Holy I got all those steering parts tightened down and the cotter pins installed, so that's done. Last thing I got to do with this thing is go around. I'm going to double check all the fluid levels, and then we're going to get the grease gun out and give it a good grease job because it probably hasn't had one in 30 years. We greased the loader when we did the episode on the loader. And then I'll tell you what I found when I was test driving it, and it's not too good. So that's it. Everything's done. All the fluids were okay. Everything took grease. So that's all good. The only real issue I seem to have with it is it's got literally no oil pressure, like nothing. When you start it up, there's some there, and then as it warms up, it just slowly goes away till there's literally nothing. But it runs well. It runs okay. So these things are pretty forgiving, but it's definitely not going to get any heavy work until we get that figured out. Luckily, I figured out that getting the loader on and off of this thing, as daunting as it looks, is not that big a deal. So somewhere down the line, when I've got some time, I will get the engine off of this thing, and we'll take it apart and see what's wrong with it and fix it up and get it put back on, because otherwise it's a good little tractor. The loader lifts good. It lifts high. It runs, it drives, it's got brakes, all that stuff is good. So sure, we've got enough junk down here, around here. We can cobble up an engine if we have to. I mean, until you get in there, you can't really say for sure how bad it is. The crank could be wiped out. It could simply be the oil pump is whiffed or got some other problem. Anyway, it is what it is. It's up and running. That's the main thing. After sitting 30 years. 30 years this thing sat in the yard next door. Unbelievable. Like Nick said, and Nick from the Real Guy Garage, 9Ns are like the cockroaches of tractors. Once all humankind is gone from Earth, the 9Ns will take over. or in this case, 2N. But as far as I'm concerned, 2Ns are 9Ns, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, that'll do it for this one. It was a fun project, despite the oil pressure issue at the end. What are you going to do? The thing's 80 years old, right? Who knows? Who knows what's going on down in the bottom of the engine? We'll get to it in time. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for tuning into the Claremont Classic Garage. I'd like to thank you for your continued support of our little channel. I hope you'll come back and see us again. And until then, I'm Kevin saying so long for now.